Continuing on with the show, our next inductee is the Revolution, Chris Venom. And here to induct Chris Venom is a jack of all trades. He has been the antagonist, a manager in pro wrestling. He's been a ring announcer, as well as a promoter. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, JC Marxx.
I want to take a minute and thank Joe Bruin, Professional Wrestling Academy of Arts and Sciences, Mr. Rich Palladino, and the hit comedy podcast Three-Way Theater. It's a podcast about pro wrestling movies and pro wrestling movies, which is a proud vendor of the New England Fan Fest 7. That's a cheap pop right there. For having me here today to get the opportunity to induct my best friend, the Revolution Chris Venom, to the 2019 class of the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Also, big thanks to Sean Gorman for going on after me so I don't have to top his speech. Much appreciated. Venom was a little concerned that I was going to kind of be roasting him tonight, but I'm not here to do that. He's a nice guy if you know him. You can't really make fun of him. Oh, you went bald. Oh, great. But the truth is, I'm not here to do that. And I could sit here and I could talk to you about his title histories or his in-ring accolades, but I'm not here to do that either. What I want to do is that I want to talk to you about the man behind Chris Venom and to really kind of show everybody what makes the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame such an important piece of wrestling history when we get to celebrate it every year. See, I met Chris Venom 20 years ago when I was 16 years old. An announcer, commentator by the name of Joe Gaudreau, who was the indispensable Scotty Angel to some of you that may remember. He went to high school with Chris Venom, and he wouldn't shut up about it. He just kept on talking about Chris Venom. You gotta bring in Chris Venom. And I didn't know who Chris Venom was. I mean, no one knew who I was. It's fine. It's true. Back then, Northeast Championship Wrestling was a little bit higher on the totem pole than the Sandbox, but not quite the VFW Kings we would become in years later. But I wanted to expand our roster, so I agreed, and Scotty Angel went ahead and talked to Chris Venom and brought him down, along with a big group of hopeful pro wrestlers to kind of join the NCW roster. And when I first met the man behind Chris Venom, his name is Sean St. Ange, he was reserved yet very respectful, very reserved, considering when he introduced himself to me, he introduced himself as Ethan Douglas. Gave me a fake name.
Still don't trust you.
I don't blame you. Considering what a giant Shane Douglas mark he was, it should have tipped me off that it was a fake name. But nevertheless, he stuck around. It was during this time that I kind of learned the secret about Chris Venom and realized that even 2 decades ago, why this man was such a gift to pro wrestling. Chris Venom, he was reserved for a very specific reason. He didn't know who the hell I was, and he wanted to protect his friends, he wanted to protect his inner circle. The connections that he made through high school and college brought him a great group, and if he was going to be letting me into that circle, I kind of needed to earn that trust. Eventually I did when 5 months later, after one of the very worst pro wrestling shows we ever put on, he finally told me his real name, and we pretty much became best friends instantly. Our bond and our connections, it would go ahead and build what I consider changing the landscape of local wrestling here in New England for better or for worse. Worse most of the time. The bridges Chris Venom would build would make him an ideal role model and leader in and out of the ring. He hooked up with Matt, Storm, and Draven to begin training in New Bedford, Massachusetts. It was during that time that he led a class of students such as the Elements of Suicide Senate and Onyx, K.L. Murphy, Tim Kilgore, Rui Patello, and Triplicious, or as his baptized name, Trigger the OG. But no doubt about it, Chris Venom was the leader of this group. And when those struggled during their formative years, Chris Venom was always there to support and help his friends succeed. We were now in his inner circle, and his circle was just getting bigger. It would bring brutal Bob Evans into his orbit in 2002, and Venom would become Bob's first student at Slam Tech University when Bob returned to Rhode Island. He would become assistant trainer at Slam Tech, and he would assist with the development of countless wrestlers to come out of that school over the next 9 years. It would bring Chris Venom into a storied career in the New England area, working with some of the best in New England, working for Steve Bradley in the WFA, teaming with, give it up for him, absolutely. Teaming with Brian Fury and Adrenaline, and heat-seeking all over New England with the Rocket, Fred Curry, Mike Bennett, and the egomaniac Johnny Idol. Outside of the ring, I'll never forget our countless drives, the random road trip playlists, quoting Norm Macdonald quotes ad nauseum, sleeping at a gas station until it opened because back in 2001 we didn't have cell phones, junk suplexes, Thursday night outs at the Roast House, and an infamous trip to Bangor, Maine in your Millennium Falcon Winnebago, where you refused to let me sleep in the Winnebago because you really wanted to have butt sex with your girlfriend. Thank you for that. There's a reason why from the moment Chris Venom had his last NCW match in 2011, I spent the next 7 years doing everything that I could to get him back into pro wrestling. Last fall, thanks to pretty much guilting him into it, thanks to help from the Lumberjake and Anthony Green, we were able to get him back for one more match. And then one more match, and then one more match, and on and on and on. And now that he's back, he can impart that wisdom, kindness, and generosity that he has for 20 years on a whole new generation of wrestlers who need that guidance. New England, we are now a part of his inner circle. So let's go ahead and continue to use the Hall of Fame as a platform to spotlight the unrecognized and celebrate those that have contributed so much to New England wrestling without ever asking for anything in return. To recognize guys like Rick Fuller, one of the best big men that I've ever seen compete in New England. To recognize guys like Mike Pava, one of the best light heavyweight wrestlers I've ever seen compete. One of the smartest minds in this business. And you know, man, let's recognize Donnie Rotten, who still has the best hair in professional wrestling all these years later. I saw that man do a corkscrew plancha last year, and holy crap, you still got it, man. Keep it up.
My hair's better than Donnie's.
So congratulations, Sean, Chris, Ethan, whatever you're calling yourself. You deserve this spotlight right now. And remember, no matter how bad life gets, there is always beer.
That's true.
Please welcome your next inductee into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame and one of my very best friends in this world, the Revolution, Chris Venom!
I honestly don't think we should talk anymore. Thank you very much. Well, I wrote stuff. looks horrible. So, we're gonna go with whatever we got here. Real quick, JC had mentioned a lot of names. First off, again, where's Joe Bruin? Is he back from dinner? Does anybody have an ABV on Joe Bruin? This is his event. Paul Roma's laughing at me. He's like, yeah, I really don't know. Real quick, 1 year ago, I was able to see 4 of my good buddies in wrestling, but also in life get inducted. The Johnny Idol, the Egomaniac. Brian, too big to be here right now, Fury. Alex is having fun right now, not with us, Arion. And the Rocket, Fred Curry Jr. I boo him too, one of the great things about seeing those 4 guys go in last year was, thankfully, it was really sweet. They all mentioned me. And it actually touched me because, like, wow, I've been away for a really long time. I didn't think anybody gave a shit about me. But it was really, really cool. So thank you guys. And thanks for everything you guys taught me. Not just in wrestling, though. Everything you taught me in life. Johnny, we talked about it before. You taught me how to take the best and worst of situations and still turn them into the best of situations. That's my man. Alex taught me and everybody else in New England how to be a babyface in and out of the ring. Brian taught me, and still teaches me to this day, how to push myself and not expect, or actually accept, just here. Everything needs to be here. When he and I teamed together, we realized that all the top spots in New England were taken. We got to go a different route to get noticed. We became Adrenaline, and then people started to pick us up. We went our separate ways. Brian did stuff. He's pretty good. And then I got slacked around with Flying Fred Curry's son, Nick Curry, that's who it is. Rocket Fred Curry, he and I get to become the Heat Singers. We actually took in Johnny Idol. Everybody was actually in that tag team. Everybody except Kurt Adonis, first Kurt. Yeah, Kurt. We tried, but then you decided to go to ESPN. That'll never last. I learned a lot of cool lessons, and I appreciate it. I'm extremely humbled. Thank all of you for letting me be here. Real quick, like Jason talked about, he kind of actually covered my entire speech, which was great because we don't have to listen to me anymore. But training with Mad Dog and Draven, the EOS, all the way up into training with Bob, Tim Kilgore, K.O. Murphy, all the people that actually made me in the ring and out of the ring, all the way up until all the people I mentioned before, which we don't have to mention anymore. Real quick, where's Dr. Heresy? Real quick, on a whim, Jeremy said, he asked asked Mad Dog Matt, he said, what's with Venom? Is he all right? Is he gonna suck? No, Matt's like, no, I trained him, he's good to go. Think he can wrestle with me and Joe Rules and Rick Sterling? Well, yeah. What show? For PLW. Yeah, he'll be all right. After borrowing Matt's boots, my first pro match was with Sterling and Rick Silver against Joe Rules and Dr. Harrison. Thank you, Jeremy, for all the original early bookings I took. Thank you very much. Every promoter gave a cabbage about me and let me kind of ply my trade and suck on their shows, from the Steve Ricards and Joe Eugenio's all the way up to EWA in Maine, to the Scott Kings and the Ramseys. Thank you guys. To all of the kids that are in here now. Where's Isana? Where's Sierra? Where's Anthony Green? Give them a round of applause. These guys, even though they're in the future, and they're awesome. And I get to touch their lives and I get to do stuff with them outside of the ring. This is totally awesome. Thank you, my friends and family, and my girlfriend Allison that put up with me and helped support me to continue to do this. Sunday. If you're not doing anything in Pawtucket, where's Todd Graham? Where's Todd Graham? There he is. He's bald like the rest of us. There is a Proving Ground Wrestling show. I'll be taking on literally the future of this area and maybe this industry, Christian Casanova. can lift 200 pounds around and maybe we can carry you for a little while. Guys, thank you very much for this. Oh yeah, Ron Zombie. Good man. And Ron Zombie has the best hair in New England.
Revolution, Chris Venom.